Welcome to Life Esteem.
Hello and welcome to Life Esteem. Hey, always great to have you as a viewer. Hey, today we're going to talk about Medicare. And it's a big topic. You might think, Medicare, but you know, so many people now are in need of this service, and oftentimes we enter into it not knowing what to do or where to go. We have with us Toniece Miller and also Lou Corado, and they're both of the Capital Area Insurance Group. Is that right?
Yes,
correct.
that's
And I'm
correct.
so glad you're both here. And Toniece, I'm going to start with you. So what is Medicare?
Okay. Well, simply put, Medicare is health insurance for people age 65 and over. But what most people don't know is that people under the age of 65 with certain disabilities can qualify for Medicare.
Oh, okay.
So, for example, if someone has end-stage renal disease or kidney failure, they may qualify. But what's most important for people to know is that Medicare or original Medicare does not cover all of your medical expenses.
Oh,
Okay. So that's why we're here today to talk about that.
Real good. So then how does one enroll then in Medicare?
Okay. Well, enrollment can happen several ways. You can go through Social Security. You can go online, and most seniors can apply online. It's about a 10-minute process. If you don't want to go through online, you can go into the Social Security Department and meet with a representative. Now, if you are a retiree from the railroad, then you would go through the Railroad Retirement Board.
Ah, okay. Interesting. So, you know, and then we talked about, you know, how does it work then? So, you know, Lou, I'm going to ask you that question. How does it really work?
Well, essentially it has four parts to it. This is clever. Part A, all right, which has to do with hospitals. Part B, which is doctors. Part C, which is essentially the Medicare Advantage plan, which we'll get into. And then there's Part D, which is the drug plan. Okay?
Drug being prescriptions.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
I have to be sensitive to that, the work that I do, all right?
Okay, yeah, no, it has to do with prescriptions.
Yeah.
There's some caveats you have to be careful of, like with Part D, for example. Once you hit, there's a dollar amount, it's called a retail amount, meaning what you pay and what the insurance company pays. It's $2,970. Once you reach that threshold, you're now what's called the donut hole, or gap, all right? And what that means is that from that part to about $6,000, and there are people paying that much for drugs, the good drugs, not the kind, the other kind, right? And what happens is they pay about 47% for brand names when they're in that gap, and about 77, 78% for generics, okay? Now, there's ways you can get around that in a sense that, you're familiar with PaceNet?
No.
Oh, okay. A lot of people aren't, and this is kind of interesting. You know what the lottery is?
Absolutely.
Okay. The lottery funds PACE and PaceNet. PACE and PaceNet are for seniors, 65-year-olds, not anybody under 65, to help them pay for their drug costs, all right? So if you have PACE, and excuse, she's going to help me with this because I don't remember the thresholds exactly, but if you're single and you're in between 12 and what, 17,000 a year, and that's all income. This is an income only, not
Income
assets.
only. Okay, income only.
Income only, all right? So if you're in that bracket and you're single, okay, you can get PACE. PACE you get for no charge, all right? And what it does is it keeps your drug costs between $6 for generics and $9 for brand names, okay? Anything over that, you then thrown into it's called PaceNet. Okay, now PaceNet, you have to get a Part D plan, which is the drug plan with the, Medicare, and roughly $25–30 a month, which goes towards kind of a deductible. You have to pay that, all right? And then your drugs are now $9 and $15. But here's the nice thing about PACE and PaceNet is there's no donut hole. So if someone is in the income brackets, and I'll go over those again, okay? Do you want to do the income brackets? Because I'm not sure I have them absolutely.
Well, for PACE, it's 17. If you're single, it's anywhere between 12,000 to 17,000. If your income is over the $17,000 limit, then you may qualify for PaceNet, and that limit is roughly about 24,000. Is a limit for single.
Single. Okay.
Couples are a little different. The maximum for a couple with PaceNet is about $31,500.
Okay. And let me clear something. We're talking about
go ahead.
Medicare today.
Yeah.
Yes.
So people always ask, what's the difference between Medicare and Medicaid? Real quick answer on that one. What is
Quick
Medicaid?
answer is Medicare that you paid for. Medicaid is welfare.
Okay,
That's,
Medicaid is welfare.
that's the simplest
People got to keep
way
that.
to, yeah, keep it
okay,
in mind.
sure.
We'll get into that also.
Sure,
That's
okay.
part of our discussion when we talk about availability of products that may help.
Okay,
Okay.
wonderful.
And again, we can't talk specific
Right.
companies because we can't do that.
And I'm glad you said it. We're not talking specific
No,
companies.
we
I'm
can't.
talking to individuals.
Yeah, individuals.
So, good.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So when we talk back to PACE and PACEnet, this is something. Now you guys know a lot about everything, pretty much, and you're not familiar with PACE or PACEnet.
Not for
Yeah.
anything.
No. Well, I know about Medicare since I'm a Medicare recipient. So I do know, but
So am I.
Yeah. So I don't
yeah.
know about the PACE and PACEnet.
No.
That's something that
Yeah,
again,
you'd
was
be
not
amazed.
news to
And
me.
this is something that we do with people. And remember what we said earlier about we don't work for anyone. We try to, and it sounds hokey, but we try to work for the client.
Sure.
All right? You'd be amazed at how many people don't know what PACE and PACEnet are.
Absolutely.
All right? That she enrolled somebody 2 days ago. All right? I may do that tomorrow. All right? We don't charge for that or anything like that, but they're not aware of it. And it's a shame because it's available. Okay? So anyway, back to A, B, C, and D. All right?
So A is hospital.
Hospitals.
B
B is doctors,
doctors,
essentially.
and D is
D is the drug plan.
What's C?
C is the Medicare Advantage plan.
Now tell us about that.
Okay. Back to square one. All right. There are two things you have to be aware of. Medicare, as Toniece said earlier, pays about 80% of your medical bill. Okay. Medicaid pays it all, but let's not go there yet. All right. Medicare pays about 80%. Now, the 20% is the responsibility of you, me, anybody that's on Medicare. Now, how do we get rid of that? How we get rid of it is we either have a supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan. All right. Now, they're two different things, never to be confused. All right. A supplement essentially picks up what Medicare doesn't pay.
Right.
Okay. There's parts of that too, and we won't get into all of that because
Yeah,
I'll
it's
make
so
it nuts.
complicated.
All right.
I know.
Anyway, essentially, that's what a supplement does. It's also called a Medigap plan. All right. Typically, that comes from an insurance company, and you pay a premium for it, as if you had health insurance. Okay. You still have to get a drug plan, good drugs. All right. You have to get Part D, and a supplement. Ballpark number is about $150 a month.
Okay.
Okay? And you're pretty well covered forever, all right? Now, the other thing, the Medicare Advantage plan is totally different than a supplement in that with a Medicare Advantage plan, you pay co-pays. All right, so if you go to the doctor, you might pay $5, you might pay 10, depends on the plan. You might pay 10, go to specialists, 35 or 40. Go to the hospital, it could be a dollar amount for as many days as you're in, or it could be a certain dollar amount per day up to so many days. And they typically come with the drug plan, so you don't have to get another additional plan. That being said, and because you're willing to pay co-pays, all right, what happens is the cost is a lot less. Anywhere from $0, all right, to $160 if you want to go there, all right?
The deluxe plan, that'd be the deluxe.
Yeah. Do you need it?
Right.
You know what I mean? So anyway, that being said, the difference is the supplement and the Medicare Advantage plan are two different things.
Okay.
That Part C is the Advantage plan. Okay? Is there anything else? Did you have any other questions on?
I do want to go back
Sure.
to the supplement versus the medical
Right.
advantage. Is that you don't need both, you do one or the other.
You can't have both.
You can't even have both.
No.
Okay, it's one or the other.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some nuances you should be, your viewers should be aware of. Medicare supplement, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's
That's
go
okay.
back a little bit, all right? Medicare, when you become eligible for Medicare, as Toniece was explaining, you have 3 months before, the month of, and 3 months after you become eligible for Medicare when you get Medicare.
Okay.
You have that time frame to pick either a supplement or an Advantage plan. All right? No questions asked, no health questions, nothing. Guaranteed issue. That's what it's called. All right? Now, that being said, you also have, and again, I'm getting ahead of myself maybe, the Advantage plan. If you decide you want an Advantage plan, your first 12 months, okay, not calendar, 12 months, you have the choice to change to a supplement. No questions asked. Okay? So, why would you choose a supplement over an Advantage plan? Do you want to take that?
Okay. In terms of the Advantage plan, if a person is on a specific budget, the premiums are typically lower than with a supplement.
Okay.
Now, with the supplement being a higher premium, there's typically no other fees or other costs that the person will incur with a supplement. As for the Advantage plan, you do have a lower premium. However, you may have some cost associated with going to the doctors or a hospitalization.
How do you determine what's best for you? I mean, you just kind of look at your health, your circumstances, your finances. What's the determining
All of
factors?
that.
All
All
of
that.
that.
Yeah, exactly. Usually the
Yeah, you
finance
nailed
comes
it.
in before the health.
Nailed it.
Yeah. You answered your own question.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, can I give him? I'll give him an example.
Okay.
On more than one occasion, I've done this. All right, you got an individual who's now eligible for Medicare. What do I do? Okay, so what we do is explain the differences, I said, between a supplement and an Advantage plan. Then they got to tell me if they want. They don't have to. All right, how you feeling? What's going on? You know, you got anything wrong with you? You know, that kind of stuff. I have more than one occasion somebody that's an insulin-dependent diabetic. I don't refuse, but I will do all I can to have them take a supplement versus an Advantage plan.
Why?
Now, here's why.
Okay.
All right. The reason I would do that, if it's economically feasible for them, okay? 12 months has a way of going by. I remember my 40-year-old kid when he was, you know,
Yeah.
3 days old, all right? He's not 3 days old
How
anymore.
about that?
His kids aren't 3 days old anymore. Anyway, my point is, you have that 12-month window when you have an Advantage plan to get out.
Okay.
If you call me the 12th to 13th first day, I can't help you.
Okay.
Because what happens is when you have a supplement and you switch to a supplement, all right, from an Advantage plan or whatever, and it's guaranteed issue's over, you now have underwriting questions. And one of them is, are you an insulin-dependent diabetic? Okay? That being the case, by all means, you should take a supplement.
Okay.
That knocks you right out the ballpark.
Well, it knocks you out of the ballpark
Right.
in 13 months. If you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you decide that I don't want, hey, Louie, I don't want this Advantage plan anymore, it stinks, okay? I want a supplement. Well, then let's do it before the year's up. Okay, we have to. Because what happens is it's underwritten. And if it's underwritten, you know, now, you get a stint put in or something like that, you know, you got to be kind of careful. But most people are okay with either one.
Well, I just want to, from personal experience,
Sure.
say, and I think I'm pretty able to understand and recognize and maneuver, okay, insurance on some levels. But I was just overwhelmed with the number of mail I got when I was getting ready to turn 65.
I still get it.
You still get it.
And I
I'm
sell
like-
this stuff.
I know, yeah. And I'm like, you know, you try to maneuver. This is when you want to go with us. You want to go here. This is what you have. This is what you can do.
Right.
And just trying to read through all that just became just. And I just actually went to someone that sat me down and just explained and shared what you're talking here about today.
Right.
And I have to encourage folks because I was over inundated with all this mail that kept coming to the house from every insurance company in America. And maybe some not in America.
And you can't advocate for a particular company, but let's
No.
say I come to
Yeah.
you though, and so you help me to walk through these things and look at the best benefits.
Yeah, let
Okay.
me have Toniece touch
Okay.
on something that I am not very good at.
Okay.
All right, that has to do with government stuff.
Yeah.
Because I'm a crotchety old man now, and you know, I got a problem with some of these things.
understand.
But she's going to explain what's called the scope of appointment.
Scope of
All right, this
appointment.
is important.
Okay.
All right.
But going back to your question, yes, we do set up appointments and we meet
Okay.
with people in their home or we meet with them wherever they're most comfortable. But before we can meet, we have what's called a scope of appointment. Scope of appointment is basically consumer protection. It's the consumer's way of knowing exactly what products that we're going to discuss before we even have a face-to-face meeting. So it kind of takes away from the people that knock on your door and try to solicit you to purchase insurance. It is a form or a document that by law we have to have signed before we can even discuss any Medicare Advantage or prescription drug plan. So yes, we do meet with clients in their homes.
And we need to deal with that scope of appointment. I like
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely.
And again, it's sometimes to tell somebody you got to sign this before I talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To do business like that before, you know what I mean? And they have to be aware of the fact they're not buying anything, they're not
Right.
doing anything.
Okay.
This is innocuous. I mean, it's a pain in the neck, but it's innocuous. And doesn't she do it a lot better than I might have done it?
But the other thing, are there penalties involved in regard to not signing up or getting Medicare at,
Yeah.
at that time frame?
Yeah. Do you want me to do that, or?
All right, well, I'll do Part B and you do
Go ahead.
Part D. Okay. There can be a penalty for Part B. Now,
Okay.
Part B, as you remember, is the medical part.
Right.
When a person turns 65, they have to apply for the Part D, or excuse me, Part B. And there is a cost that is associated with the Part B.
Okay.
Now, if a person does not apply at age 65, there can be penalties that go along with that. Now, there are some exceptions. If you're turning 65 and you decide that you want to still work, or your spouse has credible insurance, then you can defer Part B without any penalties.
Okay.
Okay.
But you have to defer. You can't just say, I'm not going to do anything.
And have credible
And
coverage.
have credible
Yeah,
coverage.
that's the
That's
key.
the key.
That's the
Yeah.
key.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah. Now, and give me some idea what the penalties look like. You mentioned there may be penalties.
Okay,
So,
penalties are based on income, so it's really hard to say it's a percentage.
Right,
So it's
okay.
hard to
It's a
say
lot
or
of money.
determine.
A lot of
A
money.
lot of
Yeah,
money,
a lot of
yeah.
It's for
Oh,
life,
yeah.
and it's for life.
And it's
Yes.
for life, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it never stops. Okay, so, you know, somebody that doesn't do it right and doesn't take Part B is not fooling anybody but themselves.
Right.
There's nothing we can do about that.
Okay.
Now, I've had some people that are, I think, Mennonites that don't take it because they have a church plan. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
I can't answer to that, but by no means should anyone not take Part B if they have to.
I'm just stretching this out for
Sure,
a minute, but
go
think
ahead.
about this for a
Yeah.
minute. There are people in facilities. I mean, they may be diminished capacity in terms
Right.
of ability, you know. So who takes care of them? They turn 65, but they're in this facility. Does anyone sit down with them and help them go through this kind of
They
stuff?
typically, don't you think they typically have power of attorneys, people with
They
There
power
should
of
should,
have
there
a
people, there should be
attorney.
someone that has
Yeah.
power.
I also understand, and don't hold me to this because I'm not for sure, but in a nursing home, for example, I think the nursing home kind of takes over sometimes
Is that right?
for what the family might or might not do.
Okay.
All right. Typically, though, there's usually a power of attorney. In fact, when we're doing an application for either, well, mostly an Advantage plan, that person that's a power of attorney has to sign it. We need a copy of their medical power of attorney. Just because they have a power of attorney doesn't mean it's going to work.
That's right.
It has to have
The
a medical
medical.
power of attorney.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Good, good.
Make
So,
that happen. Okay.
anyway.
Okay. Yeah,
so
sorry, but I just
now
thought-
Part B can be very expensive. Part D, this is confusing, so maybe I shouldn't even go there, but I'll try. Okay, only goofballs like me understand this. The penalty is 1% of what the you sitting down? 1% of what the average premium is for a Part D plan in the United States. Got that? Now goes further, right? That then is multiplied. Let's say, for example, it's $32. That's what the average premium is. 1% of that's what, 30 cents, 33 cents, something like that. All right. Now that 33 cents is multiplied times the number of months that you have not had a plan. All right. For example, if you go 2 years, it's 24 times 30. So that's $7. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it's forever. And that's on top of the premium you have to pay for the Part D plan. Okay? Now, same principle Toniece mentioned, how you don't get involved with penalties or you don't have to apply for Part D is if you're on your wife's plan or you have a creditable coverage from the VA, PACEnet, those types of things.
And also maybe civil service retirees.
Yeah,
maybe?
yeah. See, they would probably have what's called a
Right.
creditable coverage. A quick case in point in Carlisle. Remember Lear? Used to be the Lear Corporation.
Yeah.
They had a plan where if you retired, they had a drug plan that you'd follow you forever. Okay, that would take the place of Part D. But in some cases, it wasn't as good as Part D. All right. So the point is, that's how you eliminate having to worry about penalties when it comes to these things.
You do understand how people could say, Lou, who's on first? What's
Yeah,
on
are you
second?
kidding? That's
I
why
don't know
we're
who's
here.
on third.
Yeah, that's why we do this.
Yes.
All right.
Because I mean, it's just it's so.
And it's sad. And, you know, the people that need the help the most don't get it. And you know, it's sad. And, you know, and there are a lot of bad guys in our business. All right, and we try not to be a bad guy.
Okay, I'm
Go
now
ahead.
on Medicare.
Right.
Okay, and I've been there on Medicare for a year. When
Right.
can I change if I wanted to do something different?
Go ahead.
All right. There is a time called annual enrollment period, AEP, and that occurs or it starts October the 15th and it ends December the 7th. So that is your opportunity, or the senior's opportunity, to take a look at your plan and make any decisions that you would need to make in terms of any changes to your plan, or if you're happy with where you are, you stay. Now, there can be some exceptions. For example, if someone is on PaceNet, they have what's called a special election period. So with that, they can make one change throughout the year outside of your annual enrollment period.
okay.
Yeah. Or people who have low-income subsidies or qualify for low-income subsidies, they as well can make one change.
Somebody's watching this program, they're not close to 65. This doesn't. So
Right.
Yeah.
when should they really start planning for this and understanding this information? When do you
Good
think?
question. When they're approaching it, I mean, too soon is no good because you forget it.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, unless you do it like we do. You know? I think probably when they're 64, 63, you know, we have people do that. They call, we take care, we help them.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because down the road they're going to need help. All right, so
So there's nothing to panic. I mean,
No,
you know, once you
heavens
get
no.
closer to it, you
there's
just
no
begin
reason to panic. Period. I mean, you know, this is not. You know, you just have to be careful what you do because there's always some. In the first year, there's always a way out. Okay, now, Toniece was talking about pretty much Medicare Advantage plans with the open enrollment and what have you. If you have a supplement, not the drug plan, if you have a supplement, you can change anytime.
Okay.
Okay, you don't have to wait. There's no time frame. All right, and what you have to be careful with the supplement is, and we run into this all the time, where somebody's paying $200 a month for a supplement they got 5 years ago, and they want to switch because of the price. Now we have plans that are less expensive. Same thing they have. It's apples and apples. It's not any different. Then maybe we could save them $40, $50 a month, but they don't pass the
medical.
The medical.
Okay.
All right, and that's frustrating, but there's nothing we can do about that. And then they have to be happy with what they have, or switch to a Medicare Advantage plan, because there are no health questions there. All right.
Oh, so the supplement does have the medical questions.
After your first time around, remember
After
that
your
first,
first
you know,
year.
the first year.
Okay.
You have once you pass your first year with a supplement,
Right.
it's all up for grabs. You
It's
know,
all up for
depending on
grabs.
depending on your health status.
Depending on the health.
Yeah. Now, a lot of things aren't serious, like high blood pressure is not a big deal. A lot of the companies will only go back 5 years, some 3, depending like a cancer or a heart attack or something like that. Some will go back 10. You know what I mean? It depends on the company.
It depends on the company.
Yeah. So
Have you noticed a difference in terms of the groups? You know, we have those demographics, and you know, we have to look at that. And so, you know, this is equal across for everybody. The rules that you're talking about.
Yeah,
and the
that's
thing-
everybody,
it's
yeah.
everybody. But what groups do you find the most sort of resistant, or they're just not as informed, or whatever? Who do we really need to get to as we're talking about this right now? Is
all
there-
of you.
Just everybody.
Yeah.
Just, there's no one
Yeah,
particular group that
no,
stands
there's
out?
no,
Okay.
because you know I got guys that are engineers that don't even know how to spell Medicare. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
So there's no demographic. I mean, it's confusing.
Yeah.
Try explaining that 1% penalty. All right, or try explaining a donut hole. You know what I mean? Your math major, a biology degree. What the hell I know
Try to
about it?
explain
You know,
everything.
I said heck. I didn't say hell. Right?
But no,
Anyway.
but it really, I mean, really, so this is for any and everybody. It doesn't
Yeah,
matter.
it doesn't matter, yeah.
Education, where you live.
Where
anything, yeah.
where it comes a little more sticky is when you're dealing with the dual eligible, which is the Medicaid, Medicare,
Okay.
Okay.
How does that happen? How do you
Yeah.
get dual eligible?
because they either are disabled, all right, and they have Medicare, like she explained, and they're on welfare.
Oh,
Okay,
you can have
and
a dual.
so they have dual eligibles, all right, and some of the things that are available for people who are not dual eligible are not available to people who are dual eligible. Does that make sense? What I mean is, dual eligible is probably not going to get a supplement.
Oh.
All right, but they will get an advantage plan, okay? And the reason they'd get an advantage plan is they'd have to get one, and I can't mention names, but certain companies specialize in dealing with people that are dual eligible,
Okay.
okay? And the reason, they don't really even need anything when you come down to it. The reason they would take an advantage plan, because maybe they get transportation benefits, which they still get, you know, like the bus ride to the doctor and back, money to buy things out of a catalog, dental plans better, you know, that type of thing.
Well, they're talking about dental plans, but now dental plans are separate, aren't they?
Yes.
Once you become Medicare eligible.
Outside of Medicaid.
Yeah.
If you're doing
Yeah.
Medicare, yes.
Yes.
Not vision, but dental
Yeah.
is separate. You
Okay,
have
so
to get
that
a
you have to
separate
find
plan.
someone for dental too then,
Yeah.
right? And make sure that coverage is available to you. So if you're talking about Medicare, you could easily have a number of different premiums you're paying a month
Yeah,
outside
sure.
of, okay.
It depends on what you want.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What are you trying to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, if you're worried about dental, then dental's going to cost you 20, 25 bucks a month for single.
Right.
Okay.
All right. Now there are certain advantage plans that do come with a dental plan, but it's not worth the money.
Not worth it.
No.
No.
Yeah, you're paying an extra
Our
80
humble
bucks.
opinion, it's
Yeah.
not worth it,
Yeah.
but it's your decision.
I got you.
I'm the one that counts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
What I say is gold.
I got you, dude.
Got that? Take it to the bank.
Yeah.
Right.
Let me ask you a question, though.
Sure.
And Toniece, how director said you,
Okay.
women tend to live longer than men, they say, in our society, you
Okay.
know. So does that factor in whenever, you know, people are applying or all this stuff is put together? The fact that women are living longer or, you know,
In terms of premiums,
In terms
that's
of premiums and
where,
all that,
where
yeah.
I would think it would make a difference.
Okay.
Sometimes if you look at a med sup or Medigap is what it's also referred to as, the premium for a woman could be potentially higher than a premium for the male.
Oh, really?
So
Okay.
that's a possibility. And I'm getting on a slippery slope, so I'm going to stop right
Right there.
But I would think that that's what would contribute to women living longer than men.
Okay.
All right.
Although I think that's
Okay.
going to change soon.
Really? Interesting, interesting.
So to make a long story short, you have a lot of choices, okay, when
Absolutely.
you're
Yes.
reaching and getting ready for 65 and what that looks like for you in regard to Medicare.
Absolutely.
Now, so if someone needs to know your information, how can they contact you? Because I know someone out there is thinking, boy, I got to get to these two. So how can they contact you?
I'm going to let her do that because
Okay.
I can't remember the phone number.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
the old
gonna-
guy,
I'm gonna
remember?
try to remember. You'll have to do your own cell phone. I just push
God.
Lou, and
Yes.
that's how I get to you. But we have 2 locations. We have an office over in Lemoyne. It's 900 Market Street. It's in the Farmers Market. We're on the 2nd floor. And then we also are at the Broad Street Market in Harrisburg. We have a stand there on Fridays and Saturdays. So people can stop by and we'll be happy to answer any questions for them and help them with anything that they need regarding Medicare. And then my personal number is area code 717-991-8578. And Lou, how can
Mine's
they contact you?
717-576-4238.
Okay.
423.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to know you're right there in the Broad Street Market as well as in Des Moines.
Yes.
Yeah, and I
Fantastic.
understand it, the Broad Street Market, not the office in Lemoyne, because that's an office,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
The Broad Street Market in Harrisburg, just like we're doing here, we can't talk about companies.
Right, but you can just stop in.
We
and
could do all the educational stuff you
That's
want to do.
wonderful.
All right?
We have run out of time, and both of you have been fantastic guests.
You're
Thank
kidding.
You, Thank you,
Yeah.
Toniece.
All
I actually
right.
thought to myself, what can we talk about? Hey, this
Yeah.
has been excellent.
We'll be back.
I'ma
This
get
is
your
a
card.
series now. Isn't this a series?
Yes, indeed. I want to thank you so much for watching Life Esteem, and hopefully you got a lot of information here, and you will use that information for the betterment of yourself and for community, okay? See you next time here on Life Esteem.